What's going on, family? I'm back with another video, and I'm making this video because something came to my attention last night while having a conversation with one of my employees at work. So this video actually has to do with the iPad Go 2 video. So without further ado, I'm gonna just jump right into it. And aside from it being about the iPad Go 2 video, it also has to do with President Trump coming out and saying that he had tested positive for COVID-19, as well as the First Lady or whatever. So we all know that the iPad Go 2 video is supposed to be a reference to the first 9/11, but it also has symbolisms of different hidden things, occult things, things that go on in the government, so on and so forth. And it's supposed to be a reference to a second 9/11 or a second 9/11 type event. So when you get into the video, at the beginning of the video, you see the George Bush character. You see he's attached to puppet strings, and the puppet strings are being handled by some type of reptilian figure or something like that. And I'm gonna go back to it. You see the figure has a $ ring on his left hand, but it's also shaped like a serpent. It looks like a serpent. If you could zoom in on it, it's a serpent. And then on the right hand, it has a ring of a bleeding heart. And like I said, he's handling the puppet strings. So with the puppet strings being attached to the George Bush character, it's basically referencing that not only George Bush, but all presidents are puppets. They are being handled from behind the scenes, from the shadows, by something else or someone else. So George Bush does this little jig. He starts to tap dance, still being handled by the puppet strings. He's in a classroom, which is a reference to the first 9/11, because when the first 9/11 took place, George Bush was in Florida in a classroom, in an elementary class or elementary school, and they were reading a book called My Pet Goat. And that's where the name I Pet Goat 2 comes from. So they were reading the book My Pet Goat during the first 9/11. So I Pet Goat 2 is supposed to be a reference to the second 9/11 or a second 9/11 type event, but on a much larger scale. So you see he's doing a dance, trying like entertaining the class, but he's not really entertaining the class. It looks very like creepy. So he's basically like scaring the class damn near. And you see the five-pointed star. A lot of people call it the Star of Baphomet or a satanic star or whatever. He's dancing within the five-pointed star. He has a dunce cap on his head, which a lot of people that break down this video believe that the D on the dunce cap is in reference to Donald Trump, because like I said, George Bush is a representation of all presidents. And aside from George Bush, he transforms into he transforms into President Obama, or former President Obama, later in the video. So the dunce cap is also a type of sign. It's like an arrow Once he sits down in the chair and starts to move his head around, the point of the dunce cap moves from the blackboard to the map. And it does that a few times within this classroom scene. So it's basically saying or referencing that you have to pay attention to something in the background, whatever's on the blackboard or whatever is taking place on the map. So right here in this scene, he's basically trying to show that he's intelligent or wise. He's trying to make a wise statement. And this part of the video is in reference to a press conference that he was at, where he was saying, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice." And then he pauses for a minute. And then he says, "If you fool me, I can't get fooled again." So basically showing that without their handlers, without someone telling them what to do or writing for them or controlling them, they're not very intelligent or wise at all. So to continue, you see how confused he gets, and then he has like an epiphany or something. He has a light bulb go off in his head for a split second, and then he gets confused again. And then he just goes totally brain dead. So aside from him being the George Bush character and transforming into the Obama character, a lot of people believe that he's also a symbol of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is supposed to be like another George Bush, basically. He's supposed to be like the second George Bush of presidents. So you have the Obama character. He transforms into the Obama character, and then he winks as if, everybody knows what a wink means when you're trying to be secretive. And it's something that only you and another person or a select few people are supposed to know about. You wink to let them know that everybody knows what winking is for, right? Basically, it's for the people in the know. If you know what's going on, if you understand what's going on, I'm going to wink at you. So I'll let you know that we are both in accord. We are both in the same mindset. We're thinking the same thing, basically. Or everything is going according to plan, etc., etc. So then he smiles and he's acting innocent right here. He's acting as if he has nothing to do with what's going on in the world or what's going on in the United States. He's playing innocent. Then he starts laughing. So this part of the video, some people that break down the video look at the LOL on the stand as a teleprompter. So maybe the Obama character is doing an interview or something, and the teleprompter has LOL on it, meaning for him to laugh out loud. Like I said, if they don't have it written for them, if they don't have somebody telling them what to say, they basically don't know what to say. That's why they use teleprompters. So The teleprompter is saying LOL. Once they show the teleprompter, he starts to laugh. But some people that break down the video also believe that it's a reference to COVID-19. He has the white gloves on and he's laughing into his hands as if he's coughing into the gloves or coughing into his hands. So recently I watched a video by the YouTuber Julian T, and he was basically saying something along the lines, this is not going to be verbatim, so he was basically saying something along the lines of maybe this is reference to October 1st because the LOL could also be 101 or 10-1. And October 1st, which is 10-1, is when the media came out and President Trump came out as him as him testing positive for having COVID-19. And then you get all the social media posts about him having COVID-19. You have people laughing about it, and you have people bringing up the fact that he was on Obama's case so heavy, and maybe Obama is sitting somewhere laughing at Trump because he caught COVID-19 and all this stuff. So this is what this is a reference to. So in this part, Julian T basically said that maybe these 12 figures back here, the 12 blue figures behind the girl, which is named Alice, are the different stages of Trump as he progresses through having COVID-19. So the far left figure would be Donald Trump at stage 1 or on the first day of having COVID. And then the figure next to him is day 2, then day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And by day 12, he's basically like, you can see like a crater in the head of the 12th figure as if something happened to his head, like some type of blunt force trauma, or maybe a symbolism of the character being kind of brain dead or something like that. And the 5th figure in the back next to the door that has the word exit on it is possibly a reference to the day that Donald Trump left the hospital. So then you have the 6th figure and so on and so forth. So, real quick, this has nothing to do with what I initially wanted to talk about, but the sweat bead or the drop of sweat that rolls down the Obama character's head, before it rolls down, you see a V in the drop of sweat, and then it rolls down his forehead very fast. But if you put it in slow motion, you see that it changes letters. So it starts as a V, and then it changes to a F, and then it changes to a J right before it drops off. So when I did my research on it, VFJ stands for very fast jet, or no, it was VLJ. So VLJ stands for very light jet. So something in reference to a VLJ or a very light jet pertaining to President Obama. What it has to deal with, I have no clue or I might have a clue, but I'm not going to talk about it in this video because that's not what this video is about. I just want to point that out. All right, so outside of the classroom, you see Psalm 23 in graffiti on the wall. You also see other words in the wall. So it has Psalm 23, but if you look closely, you can see a D, you can see a O, you can see a N, you can see a L, a L, A N D. So aside from Psalm 23, it also says Donald in in reference to Donald Trump. So I'm gonna go to Psalm 23 real quick, just so we can know what Psalm 23 is about and why they put it in this video. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So, Psalm 23 is the prayer of the shepherd, or the prayer of the Lord is my shepherd. So, with it being not a pseudonym, but with it having a double meaning in the iPad Goat 2 video, like I said, it also says Donald on the wall aside from Psalm 23. So basically it's referencing like Donald Trump being in the valley of the shadow of death, or praying to God about having the coronavirus or something like that. And this is basically like a scripture that they will read during funerals, right? When they're about to put the casket into the ground and bury a dead person, the pastor or the reverend or whoever usually reads from Psalm 23. But also the 2 in Psalm 23 looks like a V. So the Roman numeral V is for the number 5. So, my bad. Let's go to Psalm 53. The folly and wickedness of men. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There is none that doeth good. God looked down from heaven upon the children of men, to see if there were any that did understand, that did seek God. Every one of them is gone back. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. Have the workers of iniquity no knowledge? Who eat up my people as they eat bread? They have not called upon God. There were they in great fear, where no fear was. For God hath scattered the bones of him that encampeth against thee. Thou hast put them to shame, because God hath despised them. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion. When God bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Yisrael shall be glad. So Psalm 53 is a reference to the wickedness of the Gentiles, or the wickedness of Esau, or the wickedness of Edom, the pagans, or whatever you want to call them. It's about the wickedness of the men of the earth and how they are treating the people of Yisrael, or the people of Israel, the people of the Most High, God's chosen. It's about their abominable iniquity. It's about how they don't understand God, they don't seek God, and they say in their hearts that there is no God. Possibly another reference to Donald Trump, because he is not really Catholic, Protestant, whatever he identifies as. He's not a religious person. No president is really religious. So aside from that, you can see in the M of Psalm a lightning strike. But I also came to believe that it's a reference to Memphis, Tennessee. Because, like I said, you see Psalm, but you also see Donald. So if you look at the D, the O, and the capital N, right next to the N is the M in Psalm, right? And then you have the lightning strike coming from the M. So NM is a reference to the New Madrid fault. So I believe this to be more of the fault line in the New Madrid fault breaking than a lightning strike. So the New Madrid fault, I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember where exactly the New Madrid fault runs, but I know it's along the Mississippi River, right? And there are a number of cities along the New Madrid fault, from maybe Louisiana to Missouri. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But anyways, I come to believe that this is also a reference to a possible earthquake taking place along the New Madrid fault, which we know the scriptures references great earthquakes a lot pertaining to the end times and judgment. So what I really want to get into is coming up in the next few scenes. So you see the towers falling. This is supposed to be a reference to the first 9/11. Those are the Twin Towers. If you slow the video down, you can see that there were explosions coming from inside the building before the buildings actually collapsed. And they started collapsing straight down as if like they were being demolished by a demolition team or something. All right, so this is the part where I wanted to get into. You see a possible reptilian-like figure on this screen. It's a reference to a TV screen. And the cord that runs along the TV screen is actually a snake. It's a serpent. Basically saying that the media is run from the shadows. It's run from the secret government, the secret societies. They get paid to put out a certain narrative, right? He has the pyramid from the back of the dollar bill on his chin. The pyramid is upside down. And like I've stated in numerous comments on breakdowns of this video and in a few videos of my own, I can actually read the lips of the character on the TV screen because there's no sound that comes with this part, with this scene in the video. So you have to basically read the lips of the character. And I'm going to slow it down so I can actually read the lips. So the character is saying, Mr. President. He's constantly yelling out, Mr. President, right? Pause the video right here. You see an egghead type figure. The egg has been cracked. The head of the figure has been cracked. But if I drew an outline of the crack in the figure's head, it looks like a character. I don't know how to say the word. Caricature. Caricature. However you say that damn word. It looks like I'm sorry. It looks like a caricature or character. All right, I'm gonna stop trying. I'm sorry, guys. It looks like a caricature of Donald Trump, right? I'm turning my phone as if it's gonna turn in the video itself that I'm recording. I'm sorry. But I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna zoom in on this part. And I'm gonna use yellow. And I'm using my phone, so excuse me if it's not good. Dude. All right, so that's terrible, but like I was saying, this part of the character's head is supposed to be like a caricature of Donald Trump. It's supposed, you can clearly see the hair right here. That's supposed to be his hair. And then this is supposed to be the rest of his face right here. So, like I said, you see the serpent at the bottom. It's actually two serpents, but you see the serpents at the bottom of the TV screen. One is in the mind of the egghead figure, and then the other one is looking at these footprints. So it's basically saying that something has happened to the president, possibly some type of head injury, due to some person inflicting harm or injury on the president. And they are basically looking for the suspect. But it's all a farce. It's all fake. They are basically putting it out on the news as if it's facts, as if it's true or really or something that really happened, but it's all fake. Another thing that leads me to believe that this is something to do with Donald Trump is the medicine next to the egghead figure and next to the footprint. You see different types of pills and you see needles. So if you look on YouTube, there is a video, or there are a few videos of Donald Trump. He did an interview and he was talking about the treatments that he was taking for COVID-19. And in the video, he basically said some of the treatments were like miracles, and they look like miracles from God, right? And then some news reports reported that Donald Trump was taking steroids for COVID-19, and how it's kind of been proven that people with more severe symptoms can take steroids for the inflammation or something like that, and it helps them, but it doesn't really help people with milder symptoms. So I believe this to be a reference to Donald Trump having COVID-19 and the different treatments that he is going through, or the different treatments and medications that he is taking while having COVID-19. So the figure is basically in a stupor. The figure is basically like discombobulated and confused and doesn't know what's going on. So in my opinion, it might be a reference to someone attacking Donald Trump while he has COVID-19, but it also might be a reference to something happening and they're trying to get the president to do something about it, but he's so out of it because of all the medications he's on and because of having COVID-19 that he's basically useless. But it's all still just a farce. It's not real, as perpetuated by the figure in the TV screen and the snakes attached to the TV screen that are supposed to be the cables of the TV screen or whatever. So they're basically being crafty in some type of way when it comes to the president having COVID-19. So it's basically like an act. They're basically acting this out. And the egghead figure says, "Somebody help me." I'm going to rewind it a little bit. Okay, so right here you can see, like I said, the upside down pyramid, the pyramid from the $1 bill. He yells out. He says something like no, and then he says, "Mr. President," and he looks as if he's looking for a suspect. It looks as if he's saying, "Mr. President, no." And then the character says, "Please help me." Mr. President. Then you see something ending in UM, possibly uranium or plutonium or something like that. And then you see the markets plunge, which I believe the markets just took a plunge after they came out and said that the president tested positive for COVID-19. I believe the Dow dropped like 500 points or something like that. possibly more than that. I'm not sure. I didn't pay much attention to it. But you see, it says the markets plunge. And then immediately after that, it starts to say war coverage, but it gets cut off. And then it moves to these compass planes. These are called compasses. It moves to these planes that are shaped like compasses. One plane drops a missile on a Muslim mosque, and then 5 more missiles shoot out from the mosque. And they head in 5 different directions, and you see a bridge in the background, and it's possibly a reference to the Golden Gate Bridge because a lot of people believe something is going to happen to the Golden Gate Bridge. And you see a city in the background. I have no idea what city it is. It's possibly a reference to New York City or something like that. And then also, it looks like the mosque is sitting on some type of ship. If you look at it closely, it looks like, I don't know much about ships. I don't know the technical names for none of the parts of ships or whatever. So it looks like the stack of a ship, basically. Or maybe a submarine. Then you see bats or possibly crows or ravens flying out of the mosque. This child has died as a result of the first bombing of the mosque, and the woman who may be his mother, maybe not, is mourning the death of the child, but the child is going to go through a rebirth. That's what the beetle represents. The scarab represents, I should say. The scarab represents a rebirth. All right, so back to the figure in the screen. All right, so right here is when he starts to say, "Mr. President, do something." Mr. President, do something. Do something now, Mr. President. Do something now. So I believe the figure to be like Mike Pence because it has a striking resemblance to Mike Pence for some reason. Well, at least in my opinion. But also it could be a reference to these different news anchors or news reporters basically being told what to say, and they're basically doing news segments where they're asking the president to do something about the markets plunging, about the war that's taking place. So everybody is trying to get the president to do something, but he's still weak and out of it from all of the medications that he's on and from COVID-19. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to point out in this scene is how last night they came out with this news report. Trump has wild meltdown several days into his COVID-19 treatment. President Trump has tweeted and retweeted more than 30 times this morning, spreading blatant lies and conspiracy theories. He tweeted the lie that Dems want to shut your churches down permanently. He has demanded that President Obama be subpoenaed over a so-called Obamagate. He has called for pathetic members of the FBI and CIA to be prosecuted over the Russia investigation. He has retweeted conspiracy theory tweets from 2018. He retweeted a conspiracy theory video falsely claiming that COVID-19 isn't really responsible for the death of more than 210,000 Americans. He retweeted a claim that Democrats seek to turn us into a third world hellhole. And he has repeatedly tweeted about Hillary Clinton all before 9:30 a.m. The White House has not been transparent about the state of the president's health or the medications he is receiving. We hope for an update soon. So that should have set me off right there to this scene in the I Pick Goat 2 video, but I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think anything of it until I read that and then had a conversation with one of my employees, like I said. And the conversation actually made me have an epiphany about this part in the iPad Goat 2 video. So, like I just read, they said that the White House hasn't been transparent about the condition of the president and blah, 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 the medications that he's on and all this stuff, right? So that's basically what this scene is. It's like the White House is not being transparent about the actual condition of President Trump and all of these medications that he's on. But also something else has taken place, like I said, like a possible head injury, possibly someone assaulting the president and getting away, and they're looking for some type of suspect. That's what the footprint is for. And then you have a snake slithering near the footprint as if it's trying to find the culprit, but they're really not trying to find the culprit because it was all staged. It's all an act. The egghead figure is crying out in agony and pain while the figure on the screen is yelling at him to do something. And it's basically like the figure doesn't want to be told what to do, so it's refusing to get up and do something. You can see that the figure is being kind of stubborn. It's looking off into the distance. It doesn't want to hear what the figure on the screen has to say. All right, so we don't see the figure in the screen again until the very end of the video. All right, so there we go. All right, so gonna try to get it back. Just a few seconds. Oops, that's not it. All right, so you can see all these people lined up in suits. They're smoke or mist-like figures. They're all lined up in I don't know how many are in the rows, but they're all in sections. And you can see this figure right here. Something is wrong with his head. Like, I'm not even going to attempt to speculate what happened to the figure's head, but you can see that his head is not like everyone else's head. So when you look at the rows, you see he comes up out of the ground. When you look at the rows, they are basically separated into sections like a calendar. They are basically set up in rows like a calendar. So I wouldn't even know where to begin to speculate what month the figure is coming up out of, or what month that figure with the distorted head, disfigured head was in. But I want to say that it's like sometime soon, because I believe that figure with the disfigured head was a reference to Donald Trump. So maybe sometime in the next few weeks, maybe, or the next few days, actually. Maybe within the next few months, because we only have 2 months left in this year. So sometime before the presidential elections, I believe. Then when he comes, he blows all the other figures away. And this kind of looks like either like a asteroid impact or a meteorite impact or a nuclear bomb explosion. Also, that's not you see what looks like snow throughout the whole video. It's not snow, it's actually ash falling. So you see the reptilian figure. You can no longer see his full face. You only see that one eye, and he's looking off to the side or looking off into the distance. He looks at what would, if this was like a movie or a TV show, the camera would be facing towards him. So he looks towards the camera for a second, and then he leaves. He slithers away. And once he slithers away down the mountain or wherever they are, that's when the egghead / Donald Trump figure gets up. And he has a look of like satisfaction on his face, kind of, sort of. And he walks off into the distance, and we never see that figure again. So basically, like, they set up this scene or this act where something happens to Donald Trump while he's recuperating from COVID-19, and it's, like I said, it's all an act. So they set this up. And then at the end of the act, Donald Trump leaves and he's never seen again, basically. So it's showing you that there was never anything really wrong with Donald Trump. And if there was, he got over it. And he was only going through it while shit was going bad, basically. Like the markets had plunged, the war is going on, and he's doing nothing about it. So he's going through all of this, and then when they finally give up, that's what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get to. When they finally give up on trying to get him to do something and they leave, that's when he gets up and you see everything is fine with him. He's okay. And then he leaves and you never see the figure again in the video. Like I said, this is just showing you how it was all staged. I've been telling people for the longest that Donald Trump is a paid actor. He is nothing more than a paid actor. Basically, all presidents are paid actors because they're all puppets, as seen in the first scene of this video. All presidents are basically puppets or paid actors. So once Donald Trump's job is done, once they accomplish what they were trying to do, he will then leave with a sense of satisfaction and knowing that he's done his job and we'll never see or hear from him again. Then you see the composer or the maestro, and you see he's basically dictating like what's going on. He's a skeletal figure, so possibly a reference to death. And he's basically conducting, that's what I meant, the conductor. He's basically conducting what's taking place. I already pointed out how this is a reference to many Native American tribes. He has the Native American headdress on, Native American mask. When he takes the mask off, he's doing a Native American ritualistic dance. And once he takes the mask off, he has Native American face paint. But I also pointed out how this is Kali, the Indian or the Hindu god Kali, doing the dance of destruction. So this is supposed to be a representation of the great white brother in Native American mythology. Like I said, we never see the Donald Trump figure again. And this is supposed to be like a reference to the Notre Dame Cathedral. And we all know that this scene in the I Pet Goat 2 video actually took place. A lot of other scenes have already taken place since this video was released in 2012. But this was something that was very significant that happened in real life. The Notre Dame Cathedral caught on fire by whatever means, however it caught on fire. And then the spire fell exactly how it falls in this video. So if I could go back to it for a second, this part where it says the Dems want to shut down your churches or shut your churches down permanently. Donald Trump already knows what's going on because he is just a puppet. He is just a paid actor. He knows what's about to take place. He knows what they're planning. He's been giving us subtle hints since he became president. He's been giving us hints at what they're trying to do, but nobody pays attention. They think he's a bigot, he's a racist, he's sexist, misogynistic, he's a narcissist, etc., etc., etc. I don't look at the person. I don't look at what they do. I don't look at how they act. I kind of look at how they act because that has a lot to do with occult occult meanings, but I mainly listen to what they say because these people speak in code a lot. So I listen to what they say. I watch their hand gestures and their movements because they speak in hidden. They speak in code and they use a serpent's tongue, basically. They speak craftily or whatever. So that part in the iPad Go 2 video where the church collapses coincides with President Trump tweeting that the Dems want to shut your churches down permanently. As far as what I was saying about the egghead figure getting up and leaving, and we never see the figure again in the video for the duration of the video, for the rest of the video. Like I said, I believe Donald Trump is gonna stop acting as if he's sick from COVID-19 or whatever, or he's gonna get better from COVID-19, quote, quote. And he's gonna leave office and we're never gonna see him again. So that brings me to this video. All right, so let me do this real quick. I'm going. All of a sudden, he had.
You know, he stood on buildings buildings when the Nazis, Hitler, were bombing London. And he was pretty brave, because he may have been doing a little drinking, but all right, he was known for that, right? He's got a right to, but it's true. He stood in the buildings in London as they were bombing London and made speeches and made statements and had everything, and he'd sometimes have press conferences, and the fake news wouldn't show up. He was standing there, nobody was in front of him. But he would stand there and he would say, "You are safe. You are safe. Everything is okay. You are safe." Well, that's a lie, I guess, right? So I said, "Oh, I never thought of it that way. I guess he lied." No, he's a great leader, and he was leading, and he was a great, great prime minister. He did a fantastic job. Not lying. No. We love our country. We want to lead fun. Hey, you now have a president that doesn't have to use a teleprompter. Isn't that nice? And I got a debate coming up with this guy. No, it's true. You never know. You never know. They give him a big fat shot in the ass, and he comes out. And for 2 hours, he's better than ever before. You know. The problem is, what happens after that? Now, that's no way to get into the office, because we're going to have a woman president someday. But you know what? It can't be Kamala. No, we can joke, we can play games, we can have fun. You can't have this guy as your president. You can't have. Maybe I'll sign an executive order. You cannot have him as your president. If I lose to him, I don't know what I'm going to do. I will never speak to you again. You'll never see me again. No.
Welcome to 24/7 Eyes. This is
We're now going to have the lowest prices as opposed to by far the highest prices. I have people that I know that go to Canada. They go to Canada to buy drugs, to buy prescription drugs. They go there because the price is so much lower than the United States. And yet it's made by the same company, often in the same plant. It's a disgrace. And the politicians allowed this to happen for many, many decades. You have people called middlemen. I don't know who the middlemen are. I don't know. They never say middle women, so they're politically not correct. But I've heard the term middlemen for a long time. They are so wealthy. They are so wealthy. Nobody has any idea who the hell they are or what they do. They make more money than the drug companies. You know, in all fairness, at least the drug companies have to produce a product. And it has to be a good product. But the middlemen, well, the rebate that I'm doing cuts out the middlemen and it reduces costs, and the money goes back to the people purchasing the drugs. So I have a lot of enemies out there. This may be the last time you'll see me for a while. A lot of very, very rich enemies, but they are not happy with what I'm doing. But I figure we have one chance to do it, and no other president's going to do what I do. No other president would do a favored nations, a rebate, a buy from other nations at much less cost. Nobody. And there are a lot of unhappy people.
So, Mr. Comey, sir, I thought if you came back for one last meeting, we could straighten things out. Please, sit down.
I am sitting, Mr. Trump.
Well, then kneel down. I want to talk to Jim alone.